I'm Coop. This video is an ammo comparison of a few different projectiles on the market for those of you who are more hardcore into Nerf. If you're a casual or you think I'm too over-analytical on my reviews, you should probably leave now. We're about to nerd out, bros. But of course you're welcome to stay. But keep in mind, check my website, Koosh772.com, for the article. This type of information is really best absorbed if you just scan over the images and you can look at what type of blaster you see. I'm using 4 different blasters to represent 2 different projectile systems and 2 different velocities. And since most people are usually in the same range, you can really just hyper-focus on one style in order to see what ammo is best for you. So accuracy of a Nerf dart comes down to 2 main things, in my opinion. First, how it leaves the blaster and how consistently it does that. I will be measuring that with initial velocity measured through my chronograph. If a Nerf dart shoots 40 feet per second and 90 feet per second, the range is going to be substantially different, so you don't really know how to engage your target if you don't know at what angle to fire. So that's why it's important to accuracy. And keep in mind, accuracy is not where the dart goes in relation to your sights. Accuracy is derived from consistency. If you group really, really tightly, 10 degrees off of your aim is just off. So the key to accuracy is consistency. A gun is consistent, a person is accurate. A gun can't really be accurate. Not on its own, and the operator has to learn how to use theirs. So the key to accuracy is consistency. Consistency of the launch is very important to accuracy, as well as the aerodynamic properties to say how the dart actually travels through the air. If you've ever seen a Nerf Elite dart fly through the air, it very often does whoop, and it does like something like that after 30 feet. It's obnoxious because you can't hit anything 50 feet away because it curves all over the place. And that's the aerodynamic properties of the projectile. It has nothing to do with your blaster. So those are the 2 things I'm measuring. The groupings, how tightly these projectiles actually group against a wall, as well as the velocities, how well they can consistently group out of the muzzle. The range of the blaster, the range of the dart, as well as dart longevity, how well they take damage, will not be measured in this test. I used 4 different blasters representing 2 different propulsion mechs. First, an unmodified Retaliator representing spring, very slow. Next, an upgraded Retaliator for a higher velocity spring blaster, and then a stock Strife representing low velocity flywheel, and then an upgraded Strife representing high velocity flywheel. The accuracy of a dart can actually vary based on the gun because of the propulsion mech. Some darts, like the Koosh darts, have a pretty good aerodynamic design, but an inconsistent foam diameter, which really makes them suck with spring blasters. Spring blasters rely on a solid air fit that, if that is inconsistent, you're not going to shoot the same velocity, which is going to change your grouping. So if you are exclusively a springer or exclusively a flywheeler, I'm pretty much only flywheeler, you have to check which type of ammo will work with your blasters. Nerf darts work with everything pretty much evenly, but it is important when buying aftermarket parts to keep your blaster in mind. To do this test, I marked my countertop with a piece of painter's tape, so I was putting the blaster in the same position every time. With the blaster flat on the ground and pointed at the same angle, the barrel is effectively pointed at the same place every single time between all of the dart testing. Freaking long introduction, but here is the consistency or the grouping test. Again, check the link in the description box to my website. All of those are posted as still images. It's a little bit easier to digest in a text article. Now on to the velocity. I did not want to film myself doing the chronograph. That's just annoying. Nobody wants to see that. So the Nerf Elite darts are among the most consistent out of both projectile like launchers, the flywheels, and the springers. Very consistent. The Nerf Suction Cup Elite darts, all around decent consistency. You know, take it as you want it. Koosh Gen.3 darts, pretty decent with flywheel blasters, but not great at all with springers, and that's because I mentioned the foam changes the initial velocity quite a bit with a springer, where it's not as relevant to a flywheeler. Koosh Gen.2 darts, random duds, which I address in my retraction video, really affect the spring fit. It's almost unshootable, and I've had quite a few jams with these actually. So kind of all over the place there. The white glow darts, you know, somewhat random crap darts all over the place, but you know, yeah. The Prut darts, terrible consistency with a spring blaster, but acceptable with the flywheel. And again, that comes down to how well the tip is glued into the foam, which sometimes is a little bit spotty and allows air to leak through, which will lead to a less consistent spring blaster. So my conclusion on my Nerf ammo comparison, you're like, hey Coop, so I just saw that, and those were way too small on a tiny little YouTube screen, what should I buy? If you use a flywheel blaster, I would highly recommend checking out the Koosh Gen.2 darts. Those are by far the best option for flywheelers, almost hands down. Cost per consistency, per dart, definitely the best bang for buck. But if you use spring blasters, the Koosh darts really aren't that consistent, and that's how the head is glued in there. For flywheelers, again, it doesn't really affect us, you know, flywheel master race, woohoo. So unfortunately, I really have to just recommend sticking with Nerf darts. They're actually the best option. If you really want to save money, you can pretty much use any of them except Koosh Gen.2, pretty much under no circumstances buy those. But if you really just want to get cheap ammo, maybe go for the white ones. They're similar enough to the elite darts. I would not recommend the Prut darts at all if you shoot at human beings. They suck. It's a terrible design. That's really just the pain. We're not in it to hurt people. It's unsafe. And the performance really isn't far and beyond better. They're not really that much cheaper than anything else, so it's not really rational to go to these when you could just have safer alternatives. But again, if you're a springer, watch the video and kind of make up your own mind on what you value. The groupings are kind of sporadic compared to the velocity readings. I was really expecting the velocity to more heavily affect the groupings. If money is no issue, the suction cup darts are great. Koosh Gen.3 fire just as accurately, if not more accurately, than the suction cup out of flywheelers. So I really wouldn't even recommend Nerf darts for any flywheelers, really at all, because these are cheaper, better, and you don't have to care when you lose them. But again, I made all of this so you could draw your own conclusions, so don't take my words too heavily. Check out the link in the description to really stare at those images if you care. All of the velocity readings, everything's laid out. It's a little bit easier to do a text thing. If you say, oh, Coop, will you do this test for another dart type? No, probably not. This video took way too long to assemble. It's not time consuming to run these tests. I run tests like this, checking different variables and different things all the time. It's how you improve and how you learn about the hobby. But filming it and editing it with all those stupid green dots, for example, takes hours. And no, I will not be doing this again to add one extra dart style. If a competitor comes up and defeats Koosh Gen.3 and I want to make a video, I might do that, but it'll be months until I have the patience to do all of this again. But it will all be worth it if you guys learned something and you guys enjoyed it. I realize this is an over nerdy video, but I don't even care. I love it. I do this stuff on a regular basis. I just don't publish it because it's usually hard to articulate. I definitely recommend you guys run tests like this at home though. This is how you improve the hobby. If you haven't already, please check out the link in the description box to my website, which articulates all of this pretty clearly, and you can scan through slowly and read it all. Links to everything I've used here is in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing any of these. Keep in mind, a lot of these things go by different names on the internet. I'm only saying Prut dart, you know, Chinese glow dart, to say what I bought specifically, where I bought them. I'm not saying, you know, all of these are the same thing. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you had fun nerding out with me. I'm Coop. Ammo comparison's finished, finally. Thanks for watching.